Okay, so a couple days ago, I watched the last 4 episodes of Witch from Mercury, so I am now done with the show. And my impression of the last 4 episodes was not perfect, but I really liked them. And to me, the thing that makes it not perfect is for whatever reason, at least where the second core is concerned, I wasn't really getting into the action, at least like the actual choreography of the fights. The personal shit that was happening, like for example, when I don't know why I've been calling him Good Guy Gwell, but it just works for me. Like in my notes, I just call him like GGG. So when Triple G was trying to escape that war zone, like with the kid on his back, like the choreography fighting between the mechs, I was like, this is fine. It's kind of whatever. But I was really invested in what was going on there. Like when he and Soletta are having their duel in episode like 17 or so. I wasn't like, man, this is like a really good fight. This fight's incredible. But like seeing him go through his PTSD and then Soletta's like, hey, I'm sorry, dude, but I have to win. I promised Minnow, I promised my bride that I wasn't gonna lose, and this is on her birthday. I can't break my promise on her birthday. I'm really invested in that. The fucking school shooting shit that happened in episode 20. Again, like the actual, I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of actual choreography going on. It was mostly just mechs going nuts, but heavily invested in what was going on the ground. Last 4 episodes are very similar. There's a part where, Lauda's like, wait a second, my brother killed our dad? And Petra because Petra does survive the shooting. It looked like she had died, but like, no, she's alive, but she's in critical condition. He's like, this person that I love was badly injured. I don't know if he thinks that she's dead or not, but it's like at the worst, or like at best, she's critically injured. At worst, she's dead. This massive event happened at the school, and it was those terrorists, and the terrorists are working with Shadik, and he's part of the Grassley part of the corporation. This is all Menno's fault. Seems like you took a bit of a leap in logic to get there, but I guess you gotta do something in the climax, so alright, walk your walk, talk your shit. So like he starts fighting Triple G in the climax, like, it's Meadow's fault. She's a piece of fucking shit, and you're a piece of fucking shit because you're part of her and you work with her. You enable her and you killed Dad and it's all her fault. And then by the end, Triple G's mech like hugs him and he's like, oh my god, my brother's not a terrible person. I love my brother. What have I done? And I was like, I don't know, maybe we need to fill runtime. Because that whole thing with Loud, like, I love what they do with Triple G. But his brother is like, he just doesn't really do anything for me. So, sure, dog. And again, like, Soletta fighting Aerie. The choreography, like seeing like the mechs fight, like her using what is it, like Caliburn against Ariel. The fact that she is fighting against the Ariel is really cool. The fact that now that she doesn't have Aerie like absorbing all of like the stress, it's harder for her to pilot a Gundam. And for the first time, Soletta is undergoing the strain, and like you see her practicing and almost like fucking dying in the cockpit, but she's like, no, I can keep going because I want to keep going. Mom doesn't want me anymore. My sister doesn't want me anymore. Fuck, Minnow doesn't want me anymore, and I don't care. Because what I want is to help my friends, to help my bride, to help my mom, and to help my sister, and to keep any and all of them from making any huge mistakes. And it's fantastic. I love that shit. There's a scene where she has a duel with Triple G. They have actually like a fencing duel. And I don't know if he throws the duel or not. I think you can make an argument that maybe he does. He's like, look, like you're the one that she needs. So I'll challenge you to a duel. Oh, look, I lost. You're the holder now. Go talk to your bride. Arguably, he was trying to win, but I like to think that he threw it. So Soletta ends up talking to Minnow. So clearly this is before the actual climax when she's fighting Aerie. I had notes. I wrote some shit down, and then anytime I looked at my notes, be like, let me talk about these last few episodes. I just had no desire to, and I don't know why. So I'm like, fuck my notes. I'm just gonna go off the cuff. she has a conversation with Minnow, who's like, I brought the Gundams here to Earth, and then all this shit happened. All this death, all this destruction is my fault. And like, she is literally not leaving her room. Like, she's got a fucking blanket over her. She looks like shit. And Soletta goes up to her, there's the door in the way, and she's like, hey, like, I'm here. I want to talk to you. This is not about trying to get my bride back or anything, but I'm letting you know this is what I'm going to go do. And I don't know if I'm coming back because I gotta pilot a Gundam, and that shit kills people. But even though I could die, I'm gonna do it because I want to, because I feel like it's worth the risk. And they have this conversation about making mistakes and how Soletta has done some things, like, the splat, and she's like, it was a mistake. Not the fact that I saved you and your dad, but the way I did it. It could have been handled better. And that's why I want to keep my mom and my sister from doing shit like that. Yes, Minnow, you have made mistakes, but you are still a good person. I still believe in you. And I know there's at least one point where she brings up the, you gotta move forward to gain too. Like, you have to be, that's also a thing. Oh God, when, I think I talked about this in the previous episodes where she's like, I'm trying to move forward, but I can't. Because I can't, like, I've lost my mom and my sister and my girlfriend. It's like, I can't move forward. I have to reclaim what I lost. She's like, I want to be able to reclaim what I lost. Like, you're part of that. So are they. I gotta take care of this shit. And I just really, really liked their conversation. And then Minnow opens the door, and there's just this elongated scene of them, like, holding hands, and like, this is the sweetest fucking shit. Like, I'm all on board for this. Something I've heard about Xenosaga is that it's about space lesbians. Did not get that vibe from episode 1. This is the show about space lesbians, and I'm all on board. It's wonderful. Gonna put a pin in that, by the way, because oh boy, I can't wait to talk about that shit. But when you get to the climax, or at least part of a climax, Soletta is fighting Eri, and she's in the Gundam. Hey, Bella. And I'm also petting my cat off screen. And essentially, Eri's kind of taking it easier on her, like, come on, sis, I don't want to have to do this. If you're really going to get in my way and Mom's way, I'm going to have to take this seriously. And Soletta's just hyperventilating because the Gundam is actively killing her. And I'm like, this shit is cool. The choreography of the fight, I think it's fine. But the concept and the stakes, I think, are really good. And there's a point where Eri's like, I'm going to fucking take this shit seriously. Meanwhile, like, Minnow and the rest of the crew, like, sneak onto the ship. What was it called? The Zero Storm, which looked kind of like the Song of Nephilim from Xenosaga episode 1. I was like, hey, that looks familiar. And yeah, their whole infiltration scene and like a gunfight with Prospera, again, it's fine. I didn't hate it by any means. Like, I don't want to make it sound like, man, the action in this show is dog shit. I think the problem is, after 65 episodes of Symphogear and fighting crazy with crazy, how a season premiere has a scene where a missile gets shot into a helicopter, does not blow up the helicopter, and I look at a scene like that and go, yeah, that sounds like a normal thing to happen in this show. The action in this, it's a lot more grounded. It's not nearly as hype, but it's not bad by any means. But I don't find it super exciting. I don't remember what I thought of the action in the first core, like with the duels. I don't know if the choreography was just a lot better, or if I hadn't been spoiled by Symphogears, so I was like, this is really cool, and then I don't know. But anyways, like, that shit happens, and it goes well, and then it doesn't go well, and then it goes well, and then it doesn't go well, and there's a point where the data storm just kind of turned off before Minnow, like, actually did her hacking. I don't remember if they ever explained why. Maybe they did, and I just don't remember it. I was like, that was weird and awfully convenient. Okay. Like, they're able to hack the data storm and turn it off But then Prosper and her goons are able to get the drop on them, so like, all right, Soletta, you gotta bring Aerie to us, because I don't remember, she does beat Aerie, I don't remember how it happened, because I believe that was before the Death Star happened. Because there's a Death Star now. Because of course there's a Death Star. And again, this is one of those things where I don't, like, this was not, from what I remember, at all brought up in the second core until it happened. So either this was something that was in the first core and I just completely forgot because it had been 8 months, or they just kind of pulled out of their ass, cool, for a big climax, we're going to have a Death Star thing, just like shoot a giant laser beam. Because you guys are a problem, blah, 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 treaties, blah, 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 political shit. Which, again, throughout the show, I really liked the political shit. I think this was it's been 8 months. I don't remember all of some of these details. So it didn't super work for me, but I'm sure if I had rewatched season 1, it probably would have made a lot of sense. But regardless, you guys are a problem. You're doing some sussy shit. We're just going to blow everything up. So Aerie sacrifices herself to stop the boom, and it works, and she dies. So the people that fired the Death Star are kind of like, oh, well, shit. Fire again? It's like, I kind of respect that. It's like, yeah, you survived it's like a firing squad. It's like, cool, you survived the first round. Do it again, I guess. But, I'm going to take that pin out the wall about space lesbians. I'm not really sure what the fuck happened. Soletta does something with, like, the data storm, and her Gundam. Oh, yeah, they also, like, take parts of the aerial and put it on the Caliburn, and her Gundam has, like, a rainbow motif going, and is using, like, rainbow powers because gay. And I kind of really dug the Rainbow Gundam. I think I heard as like gay space magic. It's like, hey, that's basically what's happening. And through using the power of gay space magic, all of the Gundams get deleted, and all of the like problem shit gets deleted. So they win. Again, maybe if I'd watched out everything from the first core, I would have been like, this makes perfect sense. But I was kind of like, what the fuck is happening? But okay, you hit the win button. Lesbian space magic. Sure, dog. It's fine. There is this nice scene where all the characters who have passed on, like everyone from the prologue, from Prosper's backstory, show up as spirits and kind of say their goodbyes. And it is a very sweet scene. And then we get an epilogue where Aerie is not dead. She exists in Minno's little like keychain thing. Because sure. As part of the epilogue, Triple G is working as his company's president. I almost said his president's company. I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense. His company's president. The original Elon and Cecilia, or as I just call her, Thighs, because goddamn, are working with as part of a different company. The Shadik is going to be having a trial soon. Petra, it now has the prosthetic legs from the Gundarm Corporation that Minnow and all the Earth House were working on, which I had completely forgotten about. And I was like, oh, right. That was a huge subplot of season 1. It's like we are trying to prove that the Gundam technology is not necessarily cursed, and we can use that to help people, so we're using it for prosthetic limbs and shit, and we made our own actual independent company, and so Minnow was working with her dad to be like, this is what I want to do, and I'm not just coming to you as your daughter, I'm coming to you as like my own businesswoman and requesting like funding. And he's like, well, I'm not just gonna give it to you, you have to actually like sell me on it and like do charts and shit. He's like, I'm an investor in your company now, but that means I still have a lot of say, and you gotta do this kind of shit to appease me as the primary shareholder. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot all of that. And it was good shit. It was super interesting. I really shouldn't have started this show until it was done. Or I should have rewatched it. Fuck. But, all that kind of shit happens. I don't know, like, Nika, I think, was, like, going back to school. I don't remember what the fuck Choo Choo was doing. Like, she was working somewhere. She seemed happy enough. And Minnow and Soletta are... I'm just gonna say they're married. I think Ari at one point literally... it was either Ari or Minnow when they're having a conversation together refer to Soletta as... Or, excuse me, as... They refer to Ari as Minnow's sister-in-law. So I'm like, okay, they fucking got married. And then when they're hanging out together, they're both wearing rings. I'm like, yeah, those are wedding rings. You two are a couple, and I'm so fucking happy. This is wonderful. Prospera is living with them because she's okay now. And I'm like, on the one hand, I'm like, do I like the fact that she gets off easy? No, because fuck this person. But on the other hand, I'm like, well, she'd have a really good and, like, sympathetic backstory. But at what point do your actions overcome your backstory? Because in Symphogear, most of the time, I feel like when it comes to the antagonists, their actions outweigh their sympathy. Prosper, I'm like, you're really close, but damn, that backstory do got hands. And that's the end of the show. And I really liked it. I think... especially where the second core is concerned, the opening is fantastic. The ending is fantastic. I like the leads quite a lot. I think the antagonists are all right. I think they're pretty good. I think the emotional stakes, are consistently really strong. When it's really... Because, like, I loved all the high school bullshit. But when it is focusing on the politics and, like, the Earthian conflict, which does not get resolved, so I don't know if they're going to try to do more shit in this particular Gundam universe and focus on that. I would be very interested to watch that. Like, when they're focusing on those political aspects, or they're like, this is the fucking horror of war, like the school shooter episode, or that Good Guy Gwell episode, which I believe was... episode 15. It's fantastic. I love those elements of it. And the more I was watching it and thinking about it, I was like, I really need to get into Gundam. Because from what I understand, that's what Gundam is. It is a series about war. It is a series about how good people can make mistakes and bad people can become heroes. And that line between good and bad is never black and white. That's really fucking interesting. Legend of Galactic Heroes is one of the best anime I have ever seen. I love Log, and it's all about politics and war, and it's fantastic. So I feel like I would really like Gundam. Now, maybe not every series of Gundam. Like, I remember trying to get into Wing, and I just wasn't clicking with it. I could try to watch it again, because I didn't get very far. It really was only like a small handful of episodes, but it just wasn't doing it for me. But maybe if I try again, I'm going to start with MSG, just Mobile Suit Gundam. From what I understand, there's 3 recap movies, which are about 2 hours a pop, that do a really good job of just condensing the show. And it is like, from what I understand, it's a lot like Sea-Cats, where you should read the VN, you should just watch Mobile Suit Gundam, but if you read the manga of Umineko, you're still getting the base experience. Like, you're still getting the story. Probably not the best version, but it's fine. Like, it's still really good. From what I understand, the MSG movies are the same. So I don't know when I'll do it. I might not do it this year. I might do it a little later in the year. but I'm really looking forward to at least giving those a shot and then trying Zeta. And I think after Zeta, it's double Zeta and then charge counterattack. And from what I understand, that's like the main original core. And then from there, it's whatever the fuck you want to watch. If you want to keep watching shit in Universal Century, you can. If you want to just watch spin-offs, you can do that too. I don't know if I'm going to watch like everything Gundam, because that's a massive fucking undertaking. But after watching Witch, because like I'd watch G Gundam because like I want to watch this goofy shit, and I was like, fuck, I'm having a lot of fun. I know this isn't what Gundam is, but I'm having a lot of fun. Maybe I should get into Gundam, and I've got a couple friends that are getting into Gundam. Watching Witch just kind of reaffirmed that, JJNW, you should really get into Gundam. So, if I take nothing else from Witch for Mercury, I could say at the very least, it's getting me interested in the rest of the franchise. But taking that away from it just as a show, I really, really liked it. Obviously, I can't say this is how it stacks up as a piece of Gundam, but I fucking loved it. Yeah, I think that's about all there is to say.